Hi class, it's Thursday, April the 23rd. This is lesson number 24. We've got some interesting things planned today. I think you'll like it. Some listening, not much to do otherwise, but we're going to start with our C scales just so that you can review them. We're going to do them right hand, left hand, together in parallel motion, and then together in contrary motion. All right, this is just to get us warmed up. Even if you don't have a piano in front of you, you can practice the fingerings on any hard surface. So here we go. C scale, right hand, starting with my thumb on middle C. Cross under. Cross over. Left hand, starting with your fifth finger on bass C. Cross over. Thumb under. Now both hands in parallel motion. I don't know if you noticed, but each time you play the third finger, you're playing the same note. Now, let's try contrary motion with both thumbs beginning on middle C, using the same fingering. Cross under your thumb. Good, you can keep practicing that. Now, one thing we did the other day is we looked at the left-hand part on page 132. That's where we're moving our fifth finger down in the bass clef, moving it from C to B. So if I play my one chord, so if I play the left hand on page 132, it's 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, rest, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, rest. Move that fifth finger, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1. Move that fifth finger, 1, 2, 3, 1. So that fifth finger moving back and forth is the key to what we do next. So turn page over to page 134. We're going to talk about the G7 chord. Now, let me show you why we call it a seventh chord. You don't really need to know, but I thought I would tell you why that little number is. So if you look on page 135, the trumpet voluntary, you will see down below the staff the numerical chords, 1, 5, 7, and 1. And up above the staff, you'll see it named a C chord or a G7 chord. Pay attention to those because we're going to do those in just a moment. You can use either one. You can do G7, 5, 7, back and forth. It doesn't make any difference. So I'm going to do something now and I'm going to play page 135. And then also talking about our G chord, I'm going to play 136 right after it. But something new. Thought you might be interested in something new today. So here goes. I play a G chord, G, B, and D. There's my G chord. 1, 3, and 5. So if I add an F up here, that's a seventh, an interval of a seventh from G to F, and that makes what we call a G7 chord. It just gives us a little more color. Now, we're going to talk about a G7 chord. Sometimes I call it a G7, sometimes a 5-7. It's the same either way. So my C chord is based on the first note of my C scale. And That's our old friend. We've been playing that. Now, if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's the fifth note of the scale. So that would be my G chord or my 5 chord. Or if I add that F, that's a G7 or a 5-7. Sometimes I talk about them intermingling because you just never know. It's the same, G7 or 5-7. Now, if you look, if I'm playing a C chord and a G chord and a C chord, that's a lot of movement. So here's a way that we're going to do that and make it a little easier. If you looked on page 134, what we're going to do is we're going to take this B and we're going to move it down here. I wish I had a chalkboard or a whiteboard so I could be writing this. It makes more sense. So I'm taking this B out of the chord, moving it down here. So if I have my 1 chord, I move that 5th finger and I play 1, 2, and 5. I'm leaving out that note right there, all right? So there's my G7 chord. So I'm just moving 1 finger, my 5th finger. That's the only one that's moving back and forth. And then I'm adding my 2nd finger, F and G. So there is my 1 chord or my C chord or my 5-7, my G7. And back. You can practice going back and forth. This is an instrument we have in our house called a pump organ. Pump organs were vital instruments back in the 17 and 1800s as the country moved forward, especially in covered wagons, because you can see they have handles over on the side. All this mirrored stuff up here, that's just frou-frou. It really ended like right about here, okay? And so you can see those pedals down there? Well, that's what helps make the air so that I can play. Now I'm going to sit down here and I'm going to play that trumpet voluntary. Now, this instrument was built in 1895. That's 125 years ago by the Fort Wayne Organ Company. You can see down below, my feet are going back and forth. That's providing the air. And then I can play. See, when I stopped pumping, it ran out. Now I'm going to turn the page and I'm going to play the can-can. We'll talk about the can-can more next week, but while I'm here, I thought it'd be fun to play it. This is the can-can. A little technical difficulty there. We're going to start over with the can-can. You can see I get the air going with my feet, and here we go. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. It's just kind of a fun instrument to have around, but I'm telling you what, I'd kind of like to get rid of it. Anybody interested in an 1895 pump organ? Talk to me or email me because I'd be glad to give it to you. We can talk about that later if you're interested. All right, so your assignment for Tuesday is to look at the can-can. You don't have to play it, but you notice there are boxes. I want you to list the chord in the boxes, either G7, 5-7, 1, or C. So that's your assignment for next time. Put those chord designations in there and send me the word pump organ in the subject line of your email. All right, I'll see you on Tuesday.